Hey everyone, we're doing a quick tour of the Blackboard site. This is the banner that greets you when you get into our homepage and our announcements section, and it's a little large, but I got to tell you, the design for making these banners has sucked up a ton of my time. It really is much harder than it looks. I am going to shoot into student view here, so I'm seeing what you see. My Blackboard is a little bit different than yours. Student preview is on, so this is what you see. And you might be like, hey, what do I do here? If you ever get on your Blackboard and it's like, hey, there are no options, it's because the side is being hidden there. So into animals, ethics, and policy. And you've got this nice sidebar here where all your options are. So we're home, we're looking at the announcements right now. And each week, at the beginning of the week, hopefully I can stick to this and get it done by Friday evening. I can't do them ahead of time because they are in response, at least in part, to the week that has just completed. But I'll try to very quickly get those up during the weekend, and you'll have a new announcement here. Should be embedded that you can play, and that'll give you sort of some commentary on the boards and class and what had been going on in the week that just completed and what we were moving on to do in the upcoming week. So announcements will appear in this section. Right over here you got syllabus, which, as you can guess, has a copy of the actual syllabus linked here. But it also has different parts of the syllabus broken down, the course information that's at the very top, the materials. This is actually something quite useful that is not in the hard syllabus. I may actually go back and add it at some time. It has each of the assignments that are required in this class, including this non-graded assignment. All of this stuff is in the syllabus, but it's broken out in the various weeks. But here it tells you the due dates, including discussion and reflection. These are each module, right, each week. And it tells you what each of them are worth. This adds up to 100%. It actually says that, I believe, down here, but it got blacked out. Request for accommodations, that's also in the syllabus, but it's presented nicely here. It is stuff that you should read, especially your first year starting. Assignments. This is, with the exception of your presentations, this is where you can find the links for each of these. Since these assignments are all book reviews, I didn't add all of this extra description of what you're supposed to do in a book review, but they do all function the same way. You can go into them. You can see the due date. You can see the points. Everything's out of 100. I weight them in the grading section, but every assignment will be out of 100. And this is where you can attach your submission, your paper here. If there's some kind of issue or whatever, you can add a comment, hit submit, and that's how you can submit your assignments. Now, these assignments will also be linked in each of the modules. So the week that you have, say, this due, which would be week 2, there will be in the week 2 module, which isn't appearing, but it will be right down here when we get to week 2. It will have a link to this assignment as well. But once you've written the paper, you go in, you submit it here. My grades, I don't actually see this on my version, but your grades will appear here. It'll look different on your phone. I can't actually see your phone view. I'm familiar with the phone app for Blackboard, but as the instructor, I can't see the student view, so I don't see actually how your grades look there, but I'm familiar, and that will sort of sum up your grades as you go. Now, right here, so that's the basics. This section here, which looks very small, the README first and the first week, this is actually going to be the heart of the course. It will expand each week. These are the modules here. This is the first week module, and after this, you'll have a week 1, week 2, or module 1, module 2, all the way to module 6. Read Me First is, of course, what you should read first, and it has basics about the class and about how it's broken up. It has information about the learning modules or units there, and a lot of this is in the syllabus as well, right? But this has some specifications for what you should be doing in the discussion boards, what you should be doing in the reflection journals. Just a quick note on social distancing in the classroom, the fact that even if you happen not to be worried about being sick, many of us, including myself, are in contact with people who are vulnerable persons, and even if you're not concerned about the health and safety of other people in your community, which I am sure that none of you fall into that category, keep in mind that if we start getting a lot of cases, if we start getting a lot of sickness that even isn't COVID, that we are going to have shutdowns of the classroom, shutdowns of the whole campus. So none of us want to be responsible for that. Few extra just guided tours. You'll find these same things in a lot of your Blackboard classes because they are produced for us by the IT folks, and I've kept the ones that I think are kind of interesting, and you might want to take a look through those. All right, so Read Me First. After we get through Read Me First, this is where the magic happens. First week, this is your first module, and each one's going to be set up like this. I'll show you the rest of the modules in a second in the non-student preview, but you're only going to have access to each week's module starting on the Friday when the previous week concludes and the new week starts. So you're going to have objectives, right? So our objectives for our first week: introduce ourselves, share our interests, understand the structure of the course in Blackboard and Teams, understand the course expectations and assignments, right? So we're getting settled. What's in here? Well, right, so you'll get to the when online, what to read, what to do. And what I've put in this section is really all of the assignments, everything that is stuff you're not doing specifically inside of class will appear here. So I've tried my best, and sometimes I may miss, or a link may be broken, but and this corresponds, right, of course, to the first week in the syllabus. But you click right here. Let's see if this all works. Right. So before our first meetings, I want you to read this very short opinion piece by Nicholas Kristof in the New York Times. He got a lot of flack for this during the height. So you're right, it's a July 11th article in the Times. He got a lot of flack during the heart of the George Floyd protests for saying, hey, what other things are we doing now that in 100 years our grandkids or great-grandkids are going to look back and judge us poorly for doing, right? So he's trying to project our current discussion about America's racist legacy to other issues, and he gives us a few here. First and foremost, he gives us, it's very short. He gives us, let me see, so it's, I believe it is factory farming, global poverty, and climate change, which are all things we'll discuss a bit in this class. But this got a lot of pushback for saying you can't compare, particularly that first one, issues of animal cruelty to issues of human cruelty, specifically slavery and racism, and that's one of those questions that's going to frame our discussion a little bit in terms of, well, how do we engage in ethics in terms of animals, and how does that connect to other issues of ethics? And right, he's making sort of a structural claim here about parallels, but it really rubbed some people the wrong way, and maybe it should rub people the wrong way. I know certainly some advocates of animal rights really put their foots in their mouths, trying to co-opt, they've done it various times, trying to co-opt other movements to say, and also animals. Well, we'll talk a little bit the first week about how we should consider these things. All right, so I'm that aside, I'm back here now on our Blackboard. You can play videos that are posted here, right? This is going to appear. This appears in the announcement section. But generally, the lectures will appear like this. There'll be YouTube videos that are embedded. You can either click and go to the page on an actual sort of on YouTube, or you can play them in here. You'll also have some links to VoiceThread, which is going to be an important part of this class. I have only used it sparingly in previous years, but I'm really engaging in trying to get VoiceThread as a part of this class. So you click here, opens up to our VoiceThread page for the class. And the way VoiceThread works is you can just record a video, but it's set up so that you can put some kind of media in the center. In this case, I put the syllabus for our syllabus tour, and I think there are 9 pages or so, and I recorded, you see the little MM here, this is my comment, and actually let me see if I can play this for a second. Hey folks, Professor Mangello here. There I am, and that goes for a while, and these will advance through, and I'll use the drawing tool. The neat thing about VoiceThread is when you get onto your page, you can look on this and then click make a comment. You can make a video comment or an audio comment or a text comment, which will pop up here underneath my MM, and they'll thread down with each one below the other, and you can actually make voice comments or video comments or text comments, and this is one of the ways that we are going to engage. And in fact, I'll go to here, let me close this out now. I do want you guys to watch this. Let me close this one out and jump here to the watch and participate VoiceThread. All right, so this is my introduction, right? This is me introducing myself, going through these in my video. I want you guys to comment and add your own, and they'll thread down here, and you can go back and you can watch everybody's, and this is how we are going to, when we do virtual presentations, you're going to produce your own voice thread like this at the end of class, and this will allow us to watch each other's and to comment. So we'll look at that more as we go along, but VoiceThread is I want you guys to play around with it a little bit. There is, by the way, on the sidebar a tab here that will take you right into our course VoiceThread, or if you want to learn more about VoiceThread, there's some pieces in these various links that will teach you about how they work. All right, so that was everything in the first week. All right, that was it. Never mind. That was it in the when online, what to do. Right. Again, I clicked over here in first week. The modules will go over here. Now, beyond that, and this is again right out of the syllabus, but for in-person meetings, when we meet in person, and it's only once, usually there will be 2 of these in the in-person meeting section for the week. For Thursday and Friday, and I know this is a little funky, right, because Group B meets before Group A this week. Usually it'll be the opposite. I always put in the consider ahead of time, right? These questions right here, I want you not just to read them, but I want you to think about them. There really is no reason why when we show up in class, or if you are virtual and we're talking on Friday, and I know, again, I'm gonna loop the people in on Friday during one of the in-person classes. Usually you'll have your own, or we'll have an all-virtual meeting on Fridays. This first Friday will be different. But regardless, whenever you are meeting with me and your classmates, and I say, all right, well, hey, how has COVID changed things for you and for people you know? Right? I ask you something like that. Well, you've thought about it. You're ready. Any one of you should be able to have something to say about it, because before you've considered ahead of time before you get to class. What do you want out of college? Right? These are things that we want to discuss, and we want to hear each other's comments. That's why we're doing it in a group discussion, but I'm not springing anything on you, right? The flip side of that is, since you've read all of these and you've thought all of them, you may not have good answers. You may have, I'm not really sure. But explore that I'm not really sure. I thought about this and I really couldn't figure it out. Or I really didn't have any specific views. Well, that's fine, but you should recognize that I think it's fair to ask everyone to be ready to participate on all of these different matters. And so there will be a consider ahead of time set of questions. It's in the syllabus, right? This comes from the same place. There may be some minor differences if I ever, while I'm putting these together, make a few edits, add or subtract. There may be slight differences, but for the most part, this is the exact same stuff that's on the hard copy of the syllabus. And again, yes, you should be ready for these things occasionally, and include. There will be not just a consider ahead of time, but there will be a bring this document or something to class. And I want to also remind you again, right, when you show up, my phone is going. When you show up to class, I want you guys to have your book, have your notes, have thought about these things. All right. Now, this is not in any of the other sections, and I may actually break this out somewhere else. And this actually may need to change depending on who is not in person, but for the most part, I have broken you guys into A and B sections. If you need to change this out, please do, but here's where you can find if you're an A or a B. We are, again, still all one class, and as you can see with the voice thread and such, we're all going to be doing things together. You're doing your orientation together, but for just the in-person meetings, we're going to break up alphabetically this way, and if a disproportionate, I know a couple of you guys are already, I've heard from our remote students, and we just want to have a basic split there, right? So this may change as we move through the first week, but that's the basic split. And if if you've made a new best friend during orientation and such, don't stress out, right? Class is not time to hang out and gossip. You're going to have plenty of time to to hang out in the deck chairs and stuff and Red Square. Just go with the A and B. Now, if you have a scheduling issue or something like that, let me know. All right. Now you can find usually, and actually there are no discussion threads or reflection journals for week 1, but normally you would find links to those in the module. But if you ever don't want to go through the module, you have links here for the discussion forums, which haven't opened up yet. But actually they have. Actually, I have opened this one, haven't I? You'll have your discussion threads in here. You click on them. You'll see this one, favorite quote, point, section, page, pretty much every week. You go in and you reply, play around with this, figure it out. But this is where and actually I'll click in here. I'll reply. Breaks out, and Blackboard's a little funky. You'll get used to it, but this is mostly familiar. Cutting and pasting is very weird. You might have to learn to use the shortcut keys because right-clicking does not typically work in terms of pasting in Blackboard. Regardless, you can save drafts. If you are working for hours and hours on a post, remember that if the Blackboard site times out, you can lose that. So if you are working for a really long time, you either want to do it maybe in a word processor outside of here, or you want to save drafts, or you want to be just a little bit more snappy. You hit submit, and I'm not going to. I'm going to cancel out of this, and it will thread under here, and you'll want to read everybody's replies, everyone's what everyone has done before you comment yourself. I would also say. So this is where the forums will be. Go back for a second here. And one of the things I want you to note is you'll see when you sign on here, right now it says 0 because I read my own post, but here it says 1, there's a post I haven't read. If somebody hits reply on your comment, you will see here how many things, and you can actually go to them just by clicking on, right? So each week I want you to, let's do it again, go into the discussion boards, again linked presumably through the module, but you can also come through the discussion forum section here. Forum 1, maybe I should rename that for to be week 0 or first week forum. I'll get to that. You click on the forum for that week. You see the different threads, different questions here. And click on them, and right, this hypothetical is going to be fun. Go into those and get commenting. And the questions for each week will not be available until the start of the week, until the Friday when we change over from one week to another. But I'm going to try to do my best to have them all set up ahead of time so that they open up on Friday. And if you are looking to get your first comment out of the way during the weekend, you can, or during that first Friday, you want to get some of your work out of the way before the weekend gets going. I'm going to let you do that, but I want to keep us all basically in the same week during that week, right? So I don't want us working on, I don't want one person working on week 1 threads while everybody else is on week 2 threads, in part because nobody will read your stuff. You won't have any conversation. In order to have a community where we engage each other, we want to actually be going through these forums at the same time. You'll also notice, by the way, that this first one is the required thread. Sometimes they'll all be required, sometimes 1 or 2. There may be fewer or more than 3 threads each week. But if it says required, then at least one of your posts needs to go in that. Reflection journals are going to work the same way. This one, they're all open, I believe. But you don't want to. Oh, and actually, you know what? I got to go back. I gotta rename these because there is no journal for week 1, and the dates are all off. So hey, here's something that I haven't done right. But when you go into them, you'll see that you can create journal entry, type in your journal entry here. You can title it. You can be fancy with your title or just title it by the week. Type in here. Same thing, save, post, and that's where that will be. So I have to clean that up actually. But you won't have this due this Thursday and Friday. Next Friday you will have a journal entry due. VoiceThread, Microsoft Teams, which we're going to use for any synchronous virtual meetings and for office hours and things like that. You can learn more about that. Yeah, we'll go over that a bit more. All this stuff, tools, library, useful. Tools is really on Blackboard where all of the good stuff is. And you can learn. I encourage you guys to look through this. Wikis, right? I've mentioned I'm going to add a wiki up probably in this section for writing down what your projects are going to be and signing up for individual meetings in the middle of the course. Right, so we're still under construction a little bit, but that's about it, right? These are all useful links. Now I'm going to do something here just briefly. I'm going to exit the preview and get into my standard view of Blackboard, which is what I have when I'm working here. And as you can see, we have all the different modules that eventually these will pop up one by one. And I'll just go into module 1, which is not available to you right now. But as you can see, it's the same sort of thing. There's a video. The reading here isn't linked because it's out of the book. Some things like I will put a lecture here. It hasn't gone up yet. That's why this isn't one of the reasons why it's not available. But you can see how, right, here is going to be the forum link for forum 1, for journal 1. Again, I need to fix that up a little bit. But each week this will pop up and you will know where to go, and each week there will be a new announcement. And that's about it. I think we're done. So I'm going to close this off. Thank you guys for watching. Let me get, come on. We're going to get this trippy view now as I close out the video of, oh yeah, right out into infinity. All right, folks, this has been fun, and I hope it was informative. All right, bye.